In my most far-fetched imaginings, I never pictured my marriage crumbling to such a state. The stillness between us roared louder than any fiery argument ever had. For years, I held steadfast trust in my spouse, certain that even during our clashes, she'd at least try to meet me halfway. But an event last week shattered every belief I held about our connection. The way it unfolded still sends my mind spinning whenever I replay it. It all began with a trip she was planning with her friends. At first glance, it appeared harmless, a short escape, an opportunity to release the weight of daily life. Yet, something gnawed at me. A deep unease I couldn't fully grasp. Perhaps it was the timing, or the way her eyes flickered away whenever the subject arose. Maybe it was just an instinct, a persistent tug warning me something was wrong. I voiced my discomfort repeatedly, explaining I wasn't at ease with her leaving, not to chain her down or limit her freedom, but because an inner voice cautioned that this trip would widen the cracks already forming between us. Our recent spats, once minor, had grown into something weightier, and I worried this would drive us further apart instead of healing what was breaking. But she brushed off my concerns as trivial. "I need this. You're making it bigger than it is," she said, her tone icy, almost rehearsed. Then, before my eyes, she packed her bag, ignoring the tension pouring from me, dismissing the storm raging in my soul. Watching her wheel that suitcase out the door felt like witnessing a stranger leave, not the woman I swore to share my life with. That night, I sat alone in the shadowed living room, staring at the door she'd passed through hours before. I thought about reaching out, calling, texting, urging her to rethink her choice. But the more I reflected, the more a firm resolve took root inside me. Why chase someone who so blatantly disregarded my emotions? Why hold on to someone who had already slipped away? So I made a decision. No yelling, no breaking things, no tears. I simply removed myself from her world. I switched off my phone, severed all communication, and disappeared. I wanted her to feel the emptiness of losing the one person she depended on most. Hours passed, then the entire night. For the first time in years, my phone remained silent. No sign of her name lighting up the screen, no goodnight text, no call to check in. I told myself she might not have noticed yet, perhaps too caught up in her supposed getaway. But as the hours dragged on, the silence became heavy, almost stifling. By morning, something shifted within me. I didn't regret my absence. A strange peace settled over me, as if I'd finally claimed control in a situation where I'd felt powerless for far too long. I went about my day as if nothing had changed, but in truth I was waiting to see how she'd respond when she realized I was gone. Then, in the late afternoon, a knock sounded at the door. At first I ignored it, but the knocks grew sharper, more insistent, tinged with panic. My heart pounded as I approached the door, my pulse so strong I felt it in my throat. When I opened it, there she was on the porch, her eyes puffy and red, her suitcase discarded at her feet. She didn't look like the self-assured woman who had left just a day earlier. She looked broken, frantic, terrified. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. The silence was thick, almost suffocating, until she finally murmured, "Why did you disappear?" I didn't answer right away. I studied her face, searching for genuineness, for regret, for something real. Then I spoke the truth I'd buried deep for too long. "Because you left me behind long before I ever walked away." Her eyes widened, tears spilling down her face. She stumbled over words, insisting the trip wasn't what I thought, pleading for me to understand. But in that moment, the details didn't matter anymore. What struck me was the painful clarity that the woman I'd entrusted with my heart didn't value me enough to stay when I needed her most. She kept begging, her voice breaking, but my mind was elsewhere. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't shouting. I wasn't even heartbroken. I felt free. For the first time, I saw the truth with unshakable certainty. Sometimes the greatest betrayal isn't cheating or lying. It's the simple act of turning away when someone pleads for you to stay. That day changed everything. She stood on my doorstep, shattered and begging, but I had already chosen my path. I wouldn't disappear again. I would move forward, without her. As I quietly shut the door, leaving her on the other side, a truth I should have seen long ago became clear. Love without respect is no love at all.